So I am back, but I may have to mute up. I wrote down one, two, three, four, five, six, 8 different points that you could
Excuse me,
address.
did I ask you a question when I came into the room?
Yeah, you were asking about whether or not to do this public or non-public, and you
Mm-hmm.
kept pushing me to
What
do
what what
either
does the
or.
title of the room say?
Yeah, Darth Dawkins keeps wanting it public.
Okay, let me read out loud so everybody can hear the message that I sent to you. Okay?
Yeah, you do know there's a limited number of
Okay, hold on a
space.
second. Hold on a second. Um, after I sent you a message, I said, "What is your clear evidence for publicly accusing me of being racist?" I said, "We can do this publicly or privately. Which would you like to do?" Okay? Now, is that an insistence? And I'm not done with the quote, but what I just read right there, is that an insistence to do it publicly rather than privately?
No, my comment and the reason why
Okay.
it says
All right,
Darth
let me
keeps
continue.
wanting
Good.
it.
Okay, let me
Darth, you
continue
have to
reading
let
the
me
quote.
finish.
You
Darth, you
answered
asked
my
me a question.
question.
Darth,
Are you
I'm just
still
going to
answering
kick you
that
to the
question?
audience if you're not going to
Yeah,
let
you
me
can kick
actually
me to the, if
address
you
you.
kick me to the audience, we'll be over. I wanted to finish
Yeah,
the
Darth,
quotation.
you need to look, I'll let you finish the quotation, but you have to mute your mic and then I'll address you.
Okay. Now, I'll pull the quotation back up again. Okay. I said, "We can do this publicly or privately. Which would you like to do?" You responded by saying, "I have no desire to give these guys content about you." My comment in the chat, I told them some of these atheists deserve Darth Dawkins. I said, "Okay, good. Then let's talk about it privately." Did I not then insist in response to your desire not to do this publicly? I said, "Then let's do this privately." I never insisted in isolation or demand that we do it publicly. I said, "We can do it either way. It's whatever you want to do." And then I said, "Okay, let's do this privately." But the title of the room is
Are you
insisting that I am exclusively dictating that it's public, which the
Let me
title
know
is
when you're done.
false.
Let me know when you're
The
done.
title is false. I'm done.
Okay, so the title stating Darth Dawkins keeps wanting it public is that every time I'm in a room, every time that I pop in a room where you're in, every time you pop in a room, you send me a back channel message pressing the conversation, or you call me out from the stage, as you did earlier, making it very public. So your whole wanting to keep it private is negated by the fact you keep bringing it up on public stages
That's
and calling
false.
it out for me to talk to you. You just did 10 minutes ago, Darth. Basically,
No,
you're talking out of
that's a
your
non
butt on this
sequitur.
one.
That's
It
a non
absolutely is
sequitur.
the truth.
No,
Then
that's
you
a
and I are
non
just going to have
sequitur.
to disagree on this
No,
one.
that's a
I'll
non
let the audience
sequitur.
decide, but I would like to progress forward.
Okay,
I
before
have
we move
several
on, I
points.
want to respond to what you just said. That's a non sequitur. Me calling you out for you to discuss this with me when you have steadfastly refused to do so it does not follow from that I'm insisting to do it publicly. I'm insisting that you discuss this with me. I have never demanded that you discuss this with me exclusively publicly. I have only insisted that you give an account to me, okay? Right? And I said, I gave you the option, public or private. You said, I don't want to do it publicly. So, what you just said about me calling you out publicly, that calling you out, there's no reference there that I demand that we do it publicly. When I back channeled you, DM'd you, said, we'll do this privately. So, the title of the room is a non sequitur, it is a lie.
I'm going to make one more statement on that, and then we're just going to have to agree to disagree, and we'll move on. So, if I keep going into different rooms and you immediately break up the conversation to call attention to it, to call me out, to demand a conversation, you are doing it publicly, Darth, whether or not you realize that that's public or not. The other thing is, I did try to give you a break. I
You're
did
not
say, hey,
responding to what I
some of
said.
these, Darth, let me finish.
So,
I
you're
did
going to
say, hey,
ignore what I said, right?
Darth, let me finish. I let you finish. I
Yeah.
said, hey, yes, some of these atheists do deserve Darth Dawkins. I made that comment. I sent that back channel message to you. I even tried to give you a break so that we wouldn't have to do this live and I wouldn't have to read these 10 statements and situations you were in that make me conclude that you're more than likely racist. And we wouldn't have had to
Okay,
do this, but now
so
we're
all right,
here.
well, okay, so now you're changing the subject. We haven't resolved the issue. I you are repeating the initial claim all over again that I refuted, but you did not offer a counter rebuttal. My rebuttal to you is that's a non sequitur. It doesn't follow because when you appeared publicly and I said, let's talk about this now, and after I had messaged you and I agreed that we will do it privately. So your room title is a lie. It's a non sequitur. You haven't offered a counter rebuttal. All you did was repeat the same initial claim.
All right, I'll let you have the final word on that. We can let the audience decide. So, would you like to start going through the list now?
Sure, support your claim that I am undoubtedly a racist.
What did you mean while watching the Oscars that the Oscars were too blackified?
No, I didn't. What I said was is that the people who were running the Oscars, okay, which were black producers, were attempting to put in a disproportion of blacks within the ceremonies that was not a statistical representation of the blacks that are in the movie and entertainment industry or the academy, that is. Okay.
Okay, because we're gonna go through
Does
all
that
nine
does that
points.
qualification make me a racist?
We're gonna go through all the points, and then we can
Does that
discuss
make me
them
okay?
after.
Does that make me a racist?
I would just like to go
Did
through
you
the
watch?
points,
Did you
and we
watch?
can
Did you
discuss
watch?
them.
Did you watch the Oscar ceremonies?
I'm just saying I would like to go through all the
Did
points. I
you
want to give
watch
you
the
time.
Oscar ceremonies? I did watch the Oscar ceremonies. Did you?
Darth,
You brought
would
up the
like
quote.
to
I'm
go through.
discussing it with you. Did you watch
Darth,
the
I want to
Oscar
go through.
ceremony? Yeah, if you
Darth,
listen,
what I
listen,
want to
dude,
do.
I am going to leave. You're bringing up something. I'm discussing
If
it with
you
you.
leave, then I'm just going to
My
read the other eight
comment, hey,
points,
James, if you're going to be a
and then
horse's
you won't
ass,
get a
then I'm going to
response.
leave. Okay? That comment was based upon my watching the Oscar ceremonies. Did you watch the Oscar ceremonies?
What I'm saying is, what I want to do, Darth, is I want to just
I
read the
asked you a
quote
question. I
and
watched the
get your
Oscar
thought on these
ceremonies. Listen to me.
situations.
We're not going to keep on doing where you are ignoring my fair questions to you. The comment that I made was a characterization based upon watching the Oscar ceremonies. Now, did you watch the Oscar ceremonies?
No, I did not watch the Oscar
Okay, now,
ceremonies.
now, now,
Now, can we move to the
since you
next
didn't
point?
watch the Oscar ceremonies, you are missing an important piece of information that would support my contention that the black producers were trying to include a vastly disproportionate number of black presenters to a minimum of non-blacks, which was disproportionately not representative of the Academy members and the performers. Now, do you dispute my statistical analysis?
What I would like to do is to go through these 9 points
I
that have
asked you a
made me
question.
conclude.
If listen to me,
And
if you ignore another fair question that I have about a point that you brought up, I will leave. I consider you're evading my question as deceitful. Your title is already deceitful. Now,
you
do you
can.
want to dispute my statistical analysis after watching the full Oscar show, which you didn't watch?
So, Darth, right now, I don't want to dispute any of your points. I just want to
Okay.
read
Okay.
off
No,
the
no.
points that have
Okay. No,
made me
okay.
conclude
Fine.
that you
Go
are a
ahead.
racist and get
Go
your
to your next
response.
point. Go to your next point.
Okay. You joined in on a joke about rioters with work boots, Father's Day cards, and them leaving the suntan lotion.
Um, there were rioters who were burning and pillaging businesses. And what was my statement?
I believe you added one of the particular points. I think you added work boots, but correct me if I'm wrong. And then the other person added suntan lotion, and you didn't correct that.
Okay. Was I obligated to come in and correct them? So I so that's a racist implication because somebody said something stupid in the flow of a conversation? Does that mean that I agreed with them on that? That I didn't think it was inappropriate? So you are indicting me for a stupid statement that somebody else made? Am I correct on that?
I believe in joining in with the joke and adding to it
Okay.
and
Are
not
you in
correcting when it
okay,
goes too far. Yes.
okay, so you're indicting me for a brief, stupid, quick quip that was inappropriate from my perspective, but because I didn't immediately condemn them for that remark, I'm somehow guilty of some aspect of racism?
I believe it's a cumulative case, and all 9 points
No, no,
state
no,
that.
no, 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 no. You could take disparate pieces of evidence, none of which indicate it, and present a false narrative, which you're doing so far. So you're blaming me because somebody made a very brief and stupid remark. Okay? So your next comment is
So you used the N word to mock a person of color during a live.
what word did I use?
You used the N word. I'm not going to say it.
Hold on a second. I got to switch my headset. Okay, I'll tell you what was said. Did you listen to what had transpired, the context?
Yeah, that's
Hello?
what I'm asking you. If there was any further context, what was the
Okay, okay,
situation
okay.
around?
Listen to me. Did you listen to the whole recording?
What I heard was about a minute.
No, actually, it was longer than that. The word that I said, and I'll spell it out so people don't accuse me of being racist, was Nigga. Okay? Now, what was the context in which I invoked it?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you because it seemed in a mocking fashion
Do
in the
you?
clip.
I was this moron kept on using that word over and over and over again, not only for others, but in reference to himself and his friends. He was using it ubiquitously and in a completely moronic fashion. When somebody referred to him and I used that word, was I mocking him for using that derogatory term? Was I mocking him and ridiculing him for using that inappropriate term? I'm waiting for an answer, James.
Yeah, I would have to go back, and if you have the full video,
Did
please
you
send it
listen to the
to me.
full video?
No, I listened to the
Okay,
minute
yeah. So
clip.
you listened to a soundbite.
Yes, of you
If you
mocking
go back
somebody
to the full
who was
video,
a
it
person
is
of
crisp.
color.
If you, well, I don't know what color he was. Do you? Do you know what color he was, James? Because I don't recall he identified his color.
The video says that you mocked the person of color. You just admitted that
Okay,
he
okay,
was a person of color who you were mocking for other reasons.
okay. You said he was a person of color. Was he?
I'm going by what you in the
I'm not
conversation
going to play this little
confirmed.
game with you, James. I'm getting very frustrated with you, okay, with your evasiveness. Now, the context clearly indicates I was mocking him and ridiculing him for that inappropriate dialogue. So if I mock somebody by quoting their stupid statements back in reference to them, I'm somehow guilty of racism when I'm mocking somebody for using that terminology? So you didn't listen to the context. Were you aware or not aware that I was mocking him?
I was aware you were mocking him. Yes.
Okay, so I was not using the term as a racial slur directed toward him because of what his skin color may have been. It was sarcasm and mocking him for using that term in a completely moronic and idiotic way in the way he was using it. So your next charge is
Um, it is about the vice president. You said you referred to her as Camel Hair Harris.
yeah. What about her?
I'm just asking you because that's been charged that
What
you are
what does
doing
that have
that.
what does that have to do with your charge of racism?
So the level of charge that's being mentioned is that you are doing that because she's a person of color and you're mocking her hair.
No. No, not at all.
So then maybe you could explain the context.
I don't even recall, nor do I believe that I was making fun of her hair. Okay. And by the way, does she have hair that is indicative of let's say black people?
Darth, she's a person of color. You know,
Okay,
we
no,
know
no,
what her
no.
hair looks
She's
like, but
she
there's no
she's
reason to
half
mock her
Pakistan.
hair.
I believe she's half Pakistani, right? Now, your next charge is
Okay. You were referring to tribal communities as spear chuckers.
I was referring to indigenous people in the Amazonian jungle as spear chuckers and bow and arrow shooters. Now, when they are depicted from cameras, what are they holding in their hands? These
Sometimes
un
it's a
the, these
baby,
unreached
sometimes it's a
people
pail of water.
that are seen on drones and cameras are usually depicted as having one or other object in her hand, which are bows and arrows and spears.
Sometimes I've
Is,
seen photos where they have buckets of water.
okay, sir,
Babies
I'm
where
talking
they're
about unreached people. I have seen more than my fair share of pictures where they are depicted as carrying spears and bows and arrows. I have always referred to them, these unreached people, as being unconnected to modern civilization, depicting their rudimentary weapons of warfare being bows and arrows and spears. Now, is there another way to use a spear other than chucking it, other than jabbing it?
yeah. Why didn't you call them water bucket carriers?
Because
Like, because
I've
they're
never
carrying
seen
water
I've never
buckets.
seen I've never seen imageries of them carrying water buckets. And are you actually serious about such a stupid comment like that?
You've
Are you
never seen like
serious?
indigenous people have to
No.
carry buckets of
No,
water
I'm
to drink,
talking
Darth?
about the unreached people that I was referring to in the Amazonian jungle as bow and arrow shooters and spear chuckers. Is that racist? I asked you a question, James.
I think, given the context and what I've presented, uh, you come off as racist quite a bit.
You know what? That is an evasive response. I'm telling you, I'm getting increasingly indignant with your evasiveness. I just asked you a direct question. You have a history of being evasive with me right now. When I refer to these people who are clearly seen on numerous cameras from afar, from drones, from the videos that I have seen, it is they are almost always carrying bows and arrows and spears. If I refer to them as bow and arrow shooters and spear chuckers, is that racist?
Yeah, I think that given particular context, that is racist.
No, it is not racist. You're full of shit. That's not a racist
You-
statement. I'm describing their crude weapons of warfare or hunting as a visual indication of their backwardness and their detachment from modern civilization. It's not racist to invoke the fact that they're using crude and carrying crude weapons. There's nothing racist about that. You're full of shit. Next.
So the next one is you have been documented on numerous occasions speaking badly about Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah, yeah. Martin Luther King was not a good person. Does that make me a racist? Did Ralph Abernathy, who was one of Martin Luther King's close friends and allies, write a biography and give an accounts of certain things about Martin Luther King, including his serial adultery? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I'm aware that Martin Luther King made mistakes,
No,
but
he.
his
Are you aware?
Christians.
Are you okay? Now, did you know that he has a fraudulent doctorate? Did you know that the doctoral committee found out that he committed plagiarism, but they gave him the doctorate anyway, even though they knew he was guilty of plagiarizing in his doctoral dissertation?
No, I have not heard any of that before.
Okay. Are you aware of the fact that there are numerous filing cabinets chock filled of surveillance videos, audio recordings, and detailed writings from FBI agents as to his secret activities? Did you know that?
I'm sure that he was surveillanced by the FBI, but
Did
no, I'm not
did you
aware
know
of.
that there are numerous filing cabinets filled with this? And in fact, the King family sued sometime within the 1970s to procure all of the FBI files of surveillance on King and his activities, what he was doing out of the public eye, because they did want it to go public. And they claimed that it was a part of his estate. And the federal judge at the time, now you let me know if you are aware of any of this, or let me know, say, I was not aware of this. And that the federal judge at the time decided that he was going to seal the records until 2027. And this was the ruling that took place in the 1970s. Were you aware of that?
No, I was not familiar with that.
Not aware of it. Are you aware that we have clear and compelling testimony, direct and indirect, of his communist sympathizing and affiliations?
I have never heard that accusation, but if you send me something on the back
Wow,
channel,
then you
I'm
don't
happy
you
to
don't
read up
really know
on
that
it.
much about Martin Luther King, do you? Are you aware of the fact that he would regularly participate in drunken orgies?
I have never ever heard that claim.
You've
What I
never
am aware
okay,
of Martin Luther King is that he
so
was
you
a
don't know
leader of the civil
any of the
rights
you
movement.
don't know any of this background information that we have from different sources.
Yes,
Did
the
you know
accusations that you're saying, I
hold on a
don't
second.
know.
Did you know that the former second in command at the FBI, whose name escaped me, but I'm sure I can Google it, who sat under J. Edgar Hoover, was asked after I believe it was after his retirement, if all of the allegations that were coming down about his um, activities that people would be shocked about, that are reported to be contained in the FBI files, they were asked the second in command at the FBI, "Are these true?" And he said, "Yes, they're all true."
So,
Now,
are you denying?
if I criticize Martin Luther King, is that racist?
So, what I'm asking, are you denying that he
If
was a
you
great
dodge
leader in the
one more
civil rights
time,
movement?
listen to me carefully. Dodge one more time when I ask you a direct question, I'm going to leave. Okay?
No,
Does that
I'm
make me a
trying.
racist because I criticize Martin Luther King for the research material that I've read about exposing his nefarious activities, being a communist sympathizer, a serial adulterer, engaging in drunken orgies, being a bisexual? Okay? Does that make me a racist because I cite others who have documented this behavior? Does that make me a racist?
I think that it can build an accumulative case, which is
No,
what we've
it
been
doesn't
doing with
add
the
to a
several
cumulative
points.
case at all. That's bullshit. What you just said, unvarnished bullshit. Citing somebody's nefarious activities that the general media has chosen to ignore does not build a cumulative case at all. That's bullshit. Next, what's your next charge?
So there is a side question with that. Would you recognize that Martin Luther King was a great leader in the civil rights movement and did help progress this issue?
I think that Martin Luther King jumped on the bandwagon from my historical research, that he jumped on the bandwagon of the already moving civil rights movement and decided that he wanted to be in the forefront and the limelight. Okay? He didn't start it. He didn't keep it going. He jumped on the bandwagon, and because he was a gifted public speaker, he rose to the top of the limelight. Now, do you know his speech, I Have a Dream? Remember that?
Yes.
Okay, do you think that that's his?
I've always thought that large chunk of it is his.
No, it's plagiarized from another black minister. He stole the message from another black minister's sermon. He plagiarized it.
Okay, and then the next point is you have mocked black culture, including rap music and hip hop.
Before we leave King, are you aware that he would represent himself as a member of the clergy and was a minister of the gospel?
Yeah, I'm aware that he represented himself
Okay,
as a minister.
okay. What was that representation true from a historical Christian perspective?
I think if he had a congregation or people he ministered to, yes, it would be true from a Christian
No, no,
perspective.
you are historically uninformed about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King denied outright the virgin birth and the bodily resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now, does that make him a heretic while claiming he's a minister of the gospel?
Yeah, I would have to look into his theology. So when we're done
Would
here,
that
I'll need
make
you to
him a
send me.
heretic? Okay, if what I am telling you is correct, that he denied the virgin birth and he denied the bodily resurrection while maintaining a public image that he is a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, would that make him a heretic?
So I would say that makes him hold an heretical view, but I would have to know more about what he's saying and how he's saying it before I would
Okay, I
say
can
he's
assure you
a heretic and not of
I've
Christianity.
actually read what he has stated. Years ago, I looked up what he was saying, and it's crystal clear. He was an apostate clergyman. He did not hold to the Bible as the word of God. Okay? He did not hold to the virgin birth and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Okay? In other public statements, if he said he had a time machine, he would like to be sitting at the seat of various philosophers rather than at the seat of, let's say, Jesus or the apostles. Okay?
Yeah,
So
send me.
I have publicly criticized Martin Luther King's uh, uh, scandalous behind the scenes conduct that are called from a variety of sources, okay? None of which are criticisms that have to do with his skin color, but everything have to do with moral turpitude, malfeasance, deception, and immoral activity that are even recognized by his close personal friends. Okay? So if I criticize him for this malfeasant behavior, but I didn't say anything about his skin color, does that make me a racist?
So the next question, Darth.
Does that you didn't answer my question? I warned you right before. I don't mind you going through a list. If you dodge my questions, I'm going
What
to
what is
leave.
what is your direct question?
My question is when I document from the research that I have done and others that we have good reasons to believe from multiple sources that he engaged in regular drunken orgies, okay? He purloined prostitutes, okay? He engaged in bisexual activity. We even have credible sources that he physically abused prostitutes. He was a communist sympathizer, okay? He was a heretic, right? And he actually, what he's most famously known for is I Have a Speech Dream was plagiarized. Now, do all of those criticisms suggest that I'm a racist toward Martin Luther King?
Not directly,
How does it
but
indirectly? How
so
does
for
it
example,
indirectly?
if we have lots of situations where it seems like you are speaking negative of black people, black culture, and then you are
You're
attacking
generalizing. You're
a civil
generalizing.
rights leader, then it
You're
could be
no,
it
no,
could be
no. It's
portrayed as
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah.
racist.
Move on, move on. Hogwash, bullshit.
Okay, so you ready for the next
Next,
one?
next, next, next. Yeah, go ahead.
Um, so you have expressly expressed your disdain for black culture, including wanting rap music, like rap and hip hop banned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I was king of the universe, I would ban rap music. I find it vulgar. And by the way, rap music is not simply relegated to blacks. There are whites that promulgate it as well. Okay? So because I disdain rap music, does that make me is that racist? I'm waiting for an
Not
answer, James.
not directly if that was the
Don't
only
give me
point.
this bullshit not directly.
If
Next.
it was the only point, no.
Next. Next.
So there is a video where you are mocking a person of color for sagging his pants.
Sagging his pants. What video? Refresh my memory what you're referring to. Sagging his pants?
It's in my list of things when I was going through
Oh, did you watch
Tom
this?
Rabbit's channel for the past 5 years.
Okay, did you watch this?
I I watched it. There was the mocking,
Okay,
and you
and
were talking
yeah,
about he needs to
and
pull his pants up, and that was
yeah.
all I remember from the video before the
So
notes.
so because I was mocking somebody who was having sagging pants, that's somehow racial disparagement? Can you answer my question, please?
And in a cumulative case, it can point to you
Stop. You
being
know what? You say
racist.
that again. You say that again, and I'm going to leave. Okay? Because that's bullshit. Because everything you brought so far is not a cumulative case. Okay? It's not a cumulative case. That is a claim that you have not supported. So what you're telling me is this. Let me get this straight, because I want to make sure you have a few brain cells working in your head. So because I mock somebody because they were wearing sagging pants and they happen to be of a darker skin color, ipso facto, that's racial disparagement?
No, I think when you put together
So I can
the
only
9 to 10
criticize white
points,
people? Wait a minute. So if a person is white, Chinese, okay, or Russian, and they have sagging pants, I can make fun of them. But black people or a black person who is wearing sagging pants, I can't make fun of them for wearing sagging pants because of their skin color. But if they were white or Chinese, I could.
no, what I'm saying, Darth, is that the 9 to 10 points that I brought
No, you
up
haven't made a cumulative case. Next.
are a drop in the bucket.
No, no,
And
no,
so,
no, sir, sir.
in all
You keep
nine
on saying
points
it's
in
a cumulative case.
totality,
No, no, you keep
I
on saying
believe
it's
that
a
it
cumulative case.
demonstrates that
Yeah,
you
don't
come off
overtalk
as
me.
racist at
Listen to
times.
me. No, no, that's another unfounded accusation. You're just repeating the generalization over again. Okay? Now, I ask you, is making fun of somebody because they're wearing sagging pants while they happen to have darker skin, is that racist? Yes or no?
I think initially, no. If that was like the only
Okay, good.
occasion.
Next. I'm waiting.
Sorry, the mailman just showed up and I don't want the dog barking.
You keep on claiming it's a cumulative case, and you haven't shown that it is. I have gone through each one of your bullet points to show none of them show racial antipathy or
So
hostility.
so let me put these together and how
No, no,
I
no,
see it.
no, no. Is that are you done with the list?
Uh, yeah, I only grabbed 9 to 10 because I never in a million years thought you would actually like sit down and address any of these.
Do you have any more evidentiary support of your slanderous and defamatory charge that I am undoubtedly a racist?
This right here, I think, is a good list to indicate. Let's go through it real quick again for the
It's
audience.
not a good list because I went through each and every one of them, none of which you could show there's clear and compelling reasons to say that it was racist. You
So
keep on
let's
saying
go
it's
through the list.
cumulative. Not one of them
While
could you
watching the
show.
Oscars, you said it was too
Yeah.
blackified because it had too many people of color. You
No,
referred to
that's
tribal
not what I said.
communities
That's not what I
as spear
said.
chuckers.
That is
Uh,
not what I said about
you
the
joined in
Oscars.
on a joke
Now,
about
okay,
work
are
boots
you
and
going to
Father's
listen
Day
to me?
cards and suntan
Listen to me.
lotion.
You look, if you don't stop, I'll just leave.
Well, I'm
Now,
just
you
going
can
through the
machine
list.
gun all this one more time. Do it again, and I'll leave. Okay? Now, you just misrepresented what I said. I said that the people behind the Oscars, who I actually saw, who are black themselves, who handpicked all of the presenters, picked a disproportionate number of black presenters and performers that wasn't representative of the academy and the academy performers. Okay? They attempt to blackify it by putting in a great, excuse me, greatly disproportionate number of black entertainment representatives than what ordinarily we would see in terms of a mixed cultural representation of the performers that we would normally see. That's not a racist statement. You could conclude that I was incorrect, that was what that they were attempting to do so, and it was simply inadvertent about the disproportionate representation vis-a-vis the performers' cultural or ethnic backgrounds. You can agree that it might be inaccurate,
So there's two other
but it
points if you
doesn't.
want to
I'm
hit
not
them.
done yet. I'm not done yet. You could hypothetically say that was inaccurate, but it doesn't make it a racist statement. Okay? And you didn't even watch the Oscars, did you?
No, I did
No,
not watch the
no, no, you
Oscars. The
didn't.
next
Yeah,
the
I
next
did.
bullet point is why is it that when you talk to young black men, you ask them what it was like to grow up without a father?
Okay, well, first of all, that's a lie. Okay. I said that to one person in particular that is repeated by the name of Psycho Atheist. Okay. Were you aware of that? I have said to other individuals, okay, who have behaved toward me in a completely unruly fashion, saying, like, well, they probably grew up without a father. Okay. Now, how do you know that each of these people are black? How would I know whether they're black? How would I know they're black?
So from my
Hold on
notes,
a
you
second.
also said this
How
to the
did I
person that
know
you
they were
called the
black?
N-word.
How did I know that these so called individuals are black?
I don't know how you
How
identified
did
or
you
what
know?
you used to identify.
How did you know? Okay, I'm going to ask you right now. Let's see whether you're a liar or you're just repeating slander from another source. How do you know that several of the individuals that I might have said, what's it like to grow up without a father? How do you know they were black?
So what I'm saying is from the videos that you can find on Tom Rabbit's channel, you
Listen
have
to
said
me.
it to the
Ans-
one, and you also said it to the
I said
person
it
who
to
you
who?
jokingly you
Who did
said
I say it to?
you said it to the one individual you were talking about, but then there's a second individual.
Are you talking about psycho atheist?
You said you had only said it to one person, but from my notes you said it to two,
I said it
including the person
directly.
you
When you
mocked.
talk about, okay, listen carefully. You're not focusing. Whatever one or more individuals I may have said that to, okay? I, how do I know? How do you know they were black?
Well, we'll let the tape stand for itself because you said you only said it to one
Okay,
person. Now
you
you're
said to
saying you
me,
said it to
listen
others.
to me, listen, James, if you dodge one more time, I'm leaving. I'm tired of your duplicity and your dishonesty. You said that I said to a number of young black men, what was it like to grow up with your father? Now, did you actually watch these videos?
The one I only saw the clip of.
Did you
I have not
watch
seen it in its
all of these
entirety.
videos? You said plural. Darth, you said to a number of young black men or males. Did
Yes,
you
and you
watch
initially
these
said
videos? Did
you
you listen?
initially
You
said
know what?
one.
I'm getting pissed right now with you because you're being dishonest. You're acting like an atheist now.
Darth,
I
you're
will
interrupting
ask
me.
you again.
You
James,
said
overtalk me again. I'm leaving. I asked you a direct question. Did you watch the videos where you allege that I said to a number of young black males, did you watch these videos?
no. I only recall seeing a clip from the one, but you admitted to there
Okay,
being more in this discussion.
so now you're slandering me and making an accusation over videos you didn't watch. How do you know they were young black males? I'm waiting for an answer.
My wife is asking me a question, and she comes first.
How convenient. You see, folks, what an absolute clown James is? He takes the slander and defamation from atheist smear sources and he simply regurgitates them and he has the brass balls to slander and defame me and then just say, well, it's a cumulative case. When we go through each one of the bullet points, none of them show a clear and compelling case that it's racist, but he says it's a cumulative case.
All right, I am back, and yes,
Okay,
my wife is
you,
more important than you, Darth.
the question that I asked you is, you didn't watch these videos. You said you watched one video, which you said it was in reference to psycho atheist.
I'm assuming that is the person in the video.
Okay, but you didn't watch the other videos. Is that correct?
No, because initially you tried to say there was only one, then I
No,
checked my
no,
notes and there was more than
sir.
one.
I know that I said to one person directly, what was it like growing up without a father as an insult because he was such a raving lunatic with me. Do you know or are you familiar with psycho atheist?
No, but are you saying that racial
Hold
slurs
on
are
a second.
justified
Hold on a
in
second.
situations?
You didn't make your case that that's a racial slur. So let's deal with what's at hand here. Are you at all familiar with psychoatheist?
No, I don't know the individual, but
Okay,
I don't believe
I
racism is
at the
appropriate.
time I was quite familiar with him, listening to him on numerous occasions on Google Plus, and I've had numerous contacts with him on Google Plus. So I had a great familiarity with his lunacy. When in a private text chat, okay. Now let me ask you this question: when I said to him, "What was it like growing up without a father?" Is there a video of that?
I think I've only seen one video, but I don't know if the
Okay,
one
okay,
encounter
okay.
you're talking about has a video.
James. You told me you saw one video of me speaking disparagingly to a black man. Was that psychoatheist?
I don't know who it was in the video. I just know that you were using the N word.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's a cumulative case. I don't know.
It is an accumulative case.
No, it's not a cumulative case. You just keep on claiming it's a cumulative case.
I can run down through it again if you would like.
Okay. No, we already went through it, and I showed that there never was a case for each one of them. Now, the fact of the matter is, all you are simply doing in your little clown show, okay, Mr. Cool as a Cucumber, Mr. Civil and Cordial, repeating slander and defamation from atheist sources, is just simply to jump on the bandwagon and slander and defame me. Now,
Darth, you
the,
read the
the
back
fact
channel
of the matter,
message, Darth,
the
where I gave
the
you an
fact,
out and I said, Darth, I don't want to do this public right now. I don't want to give them another video to attack you.
yeah,
You
and I
chose to
told you we'll
keep
do it
mentioning
privately.
it, and every room I come in,
Okay,
you chose to keep bringing it up.
James,
You took it
are you
from the back
suffering?
channel
Are
and
you
you made it
stop
publicly.
lying? Stop
You
lying.
took it
Are
from the
you
back channel,
Hey
you made it
James.
public.
Hey James, stop lying.
And that's
You
what happened,
lying
Darth.
piece of Listen, you lying piece of
Did
crap.
I or did I
Okay,
not
listen to me.
message you, Darth?
Tell me when you're done lying and then I'll
Darth,
respond to you. Tell me when you're done.
you answer yes or no to this question, then you can respond. Did I or did I not send you a back channel message saying, "Hey, Darth, I don't want to do this publicly. I don't want to give people another video about you." Did I or did I not say that to you?
You did, and I immediately responded to you and said,
Thank you.
"Good, we'll do this. We'll do this privately." Now, did I not agree with you to do it privately?
In the back channel, but when you were on stage, you keep mentioning it and you keep bringing it up in
Yeah,
every
and
room
did I
in a
not
public
already
fashion.
agree to you? Hey, James, listen to me. I'm about to leave right now. I am so disgusted with your lying right now. You're just absolute, obvious
You did not mention
lying
it in
and
the other
dishonest.
room,
Please
Darth.
don't overtalk me. Please do not
Darth, when I
overtalk
came in the
me.
other room, you didn't
Please do
mention it.
not overtalk me.
You
Please
didn't
do
say,
not
James,
overtalk
let's
me.
talk about
Please
this.
do not
You never
overtalk
said
me.
that.
Please do not overtalk me. Now,
I'm
when
asking you
I
a question.
called you out, please do not overtalk me.
I'm asking you a question.
Please do not overtalk me. I'd like to finish. I was listening to you. Now, I'd like you to listen to me. I made it clear to you in a private text message, we'll do this public. You ignored that and did not respond and say, we'll do it privately. But I made it clear to you that I will do it privately with you. When you showed up 2, maybe 3 times in rooms, if that, I never insisted that you had to do this publicly. I still said we can do it privately. So stop your disgusting lie that I demanded to do it
Darth,
publicly. And if
I,
you
I
didn't
back
want, you know
channeled
what?
you.
I'm not done yet.
If you could
Stop with
wrap
this
up in 30
Okay,
seconds,
I'm
please.
not done yet. Stop with this disgusting lie
If you
that
can
I
wrap
was
up
the
in 30
one.
seconds,
Okay, you know
please,
what?
so I
Hey, you
can
know what? You know
respond.
what? You want to talk to me? Hey, listen, you're done. You're a lying piece of crap. You keep on interrupting me. You make false lies about I.
Okay, I just moved Darth Dawkins to the audience. He's about to leave the room, end the conversation. So here's what happened, guys. And I've had some personal issues going on. I've had some medical. I sent Darth Dawkins a back channel message. Let's go through. I put Darth, I was going to have a conversation with you as requested, but to be honest with you, I've got so many issues going on at home that I really should be off Clubhouse for a season. I took a break for a few days. Um, I also feel, let me go to, I said we can have a private conversation about this in the future, but after today, you won't hear me mentioning or attacking you unless someone has clips from before today. Um, and so I've given him all this that, hey, Darth, I'm not going to talk about you publicly. I'm not going to mention you publicly. I need a break. I've got these personal issues going on. And in this, let me see, this one was from yesterday. Said, I have no desire to give these guys content for you. Read my comment in the chat. I told them some of these atheists deserve Darth Dawkins because there was an atheist who told me to kill myself, for example, or an atheist who mocked me for being in financial distress. So, yes, I think that those particular atheists need, more stern approach. I basically was trying to leave this alone, to not bring this up, to not do the room. But every room that I come in and Darth Dawkins happens to get mod in or is mod or on
matter who's doing it. He's just saying that's a bad look. That's all. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it's not again. Yeah, and it's not just a certain race of people who wear them. If he's talking specifically about black people, that would be just a stereotype saying, well, you got black people, and a lot of black people. There's an let me put it this way: in many black communities, there's a disproportionate amount of people within the black community that wear saggy clothing and stuff like that. That much is true, but for you to assert because he's talking about sagginess, therefore he's talking about the black community, that couldn't be more ridiculous. Because you would have to have a bigotry of low expectations to think that he's talking about a certain race of people necessarily. Don't you know that there's a growing amount of people in a number of different ethnicity and communities that wear saggy pants these days? White dudes, Hispanic dudes, and so on and so forth. It's not this idea about you see it generally in the black community and then you make an extrapolation off of that. I don't, and even if only black people did wear saggy pants, that wouldn't even be a racist statement if only black people wore them. It'd be like, don't have pants that's coming off your backside. Like, how's that a problem?
look, I'll go ahead and tell you, I don't subscribe to race theory anyway. If you look where it started, look, the guys who came up with the theory of there being different races, okay, were the most racist people you've ever met. They were saying that if you look at the skulls of people from darker skin that primarily come from Africa have a less evolved
And this is exactly what he was doing here. I asked him, "Did you watch the Oscars? Did you watch it? Did you see about how the black presenters were greatly disproportionate to the entertainment or the acting community, right? Why was that? How did that happen? Was that just a statistical accident, or was it by choice? Okay, he didn't watch the Oscars, but he wants to make my comment about what the agenda was of the black producers. Okay, and he says, "Well, that's racist." Even if I was wrong in their motivation, that wouldn't make it racist. So if I say that rap music is garbage and if I was king, I would ban it, that makes me a racist? I mean, I could go on and on. This guy is a pig. He's nothing more than a slanderer, just like the atheists are. Unbelievable. Okay, if anyone would like to come up and would like to comment pro and con of what transpired with that train wreck, James is tired, you're welcome to come up. Agree or disagree? I just take a real issue when even professing Christians act like pieces of garbage and simply are dishonest, disingenuous, right? And then they want to present like they're honest presenters. Oh, I sharply criticize Martin Luther King. Oh well, that makes me racist. That adds to a racist, cumulative case of racism. What a bunch of garbage! This guy didn't even know about Martin Luther King's history. Welcome, Theo. What would you like to say? Welcome, Theo. Okay, Wrath. Okay, let's see. Now you are banned for your gratuitous attack, but you know what? I will give you the benefit of the doubt. You want to come up on stage and make that same charge, Wrath? Here, come on up. Go ahead, repeat your charge. How am I exposed? Unmute your microphone, sir.
Yeah, I'll say it to your face, Darth. Got a problem with it? Shut up,
Yeah,
sit
how
down, take
how
it like a
how
big
wasn't
boy.
it?
It's not
Look,
slander. It's
listen
true.
carefully. Stop
Don't
for a second.
overtalk me.
Stop.
Don't overtalk
All
me.
right,
Don't overtalk me like a
okay. I'm
bitch.
gonna mute.
You're a bitch.
Okay, I'm gonna mute. Okay, listen to me. I'm gonna give you one more chance. Okay.
Don't
If you
overtalk me like a bitch, Darth.
okay, all right, you're
You're a
not
bitch.
blocked.
Boot me like a whore.
Okay,
Boot
yeah,
me.
there we
Go
go.
ahead,
Yeah, there
because
we
you're a
go.
pussy. Boot
Okay,
me like a pussy.
blocked. Okay, now
You're a
you are
pussy. Go ahead,
not.
ban me, because you're a whore.
Okay, there we go. This is what we're left with. Okay, I could have just kicked him for his gratuitous attack in the text chat, but he comes up and he acts like the miscreant that he is. Okay. Okay. So James is tired
Yeah, my
exposing.
Wi-Fi might be bad.
Yeah, no, it's good. You're good now. So did you listen to that train wreck of James is tired?
Yeah, I was there.
Do you
Yeah, they
blame me
didn't
for
have any.
being indignant with the bullshit that he was spewing?
Yeah, I can't blame you.
Yeah,
And
and I'm not.
I
Listen,
thought
when I
a
when I
couple of
ask you,
different things.
yeah, listen, I know that you're sympathetic to me, and I'm not really looking for an echo chamber. Okay, I know you probably agree with me, but I just think that guy is disgusting. Not because he openly criticized me, but I went through each and every one of these things, and then he keeps on going cumulative case, cumulative case. There's no cumulative case. All he's simply doing is he's piggybacking on the slander and defamation of the
Yeah,
atheist community. And you know what? The people in the atheist community are orgasmic now that they are in part fomenting this conflict. Okay? And I'm not trying to be crude about that, but this is their mentality. They're disgusting people, and James is complicit. Okay, he's an absolute liar. Okay, he said that I was the one who insisted on making this public. Right now, I will
Yeah.
ask you, and please, please disagree with me if you think I'm wrong. Did I not make a definitive refutation of that lie? That I was the one who insisted that it be public.
Yeah, yeah. You read the text messages and you're saying like it could
Okay. I
it
made it abundantly
be
clear to
public,
him.
it could be
Yeah.
private, and then later you're saying like
Yeah. And when I called him out, he knew from prior text messages
so yeah.
that he had informed me that he didn't want to do this public. So when I was requested of him, he knew that I was calling him to the private conversation that he was dodging. If I read you the full text message, he was not fully responding to me. He was giving responses some of them which are rabbit trails. So when I called him out to discuss the issue, it was not a demand to do it publicly, but to do it privately, as I had pointed out in the private text message, and he made it clear he didn't want to do it publicly. But because when he came into my room and I said, "Oh, good, are we going to talk about this or not?" He knew that it was in the previous context of me agreeing to do this privately. But he turns around and he starts a room and he lies about me, saying that I was insistent on doing it publicly. Okay? The guy is a filthy liar. That's the character of the person who's slandering me. Okay?
Yep. Yeah, like I mean, some of the thing was weird. Like, um, he brought up like someone else said something, and then was like, well, like you're in the same room, therefore, uh, guilt by association or whatnot. Like
What
that's
we
kind
were
of
talking about, what we were talking about was, I'm trying to remember what the case was. I think it had to do with who's the drug addict who died, and they said that the police officer caused his death with his knee adjacent to his neck or on his neck. That was what was his name? Floyd, George
George.
Floyd.
Yeah,
Okay.
George Floyd.
Now, when there were these riots, okay, we were mocking the rioters. Okay, when we were mocking the rioters, and they went in there. Okay, rioters generally are not people who are law and order people. Okay, and I don't think it's too far of a stretch of imagination that they probably don't have too much of a work history. Okay. So I said, "Oh, they didn't take the work boots." But somebody else comes along and makes a stupid comment, right, about suntan lotion, and I don't immediately denounce them, right? That makes me uh, guilty by association, because I immediately didn't castigate him for that stupid remark, which I knew that the moment he said it, he knew that it was stupid. Okay, so I'm guilty. That's racism on my part because somebody else said something stupid.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Now, the interesting thing is, most of the rioters, to my recollection, certainly not all of them on camera, you could see on camera they were black. Okay? Now, the fact of the matter is, I am criticizing the fact that they're rioters, not because they're black. But you see, in James's world, you get the idea there that if you criticize a black person, oh, watch out, we can make a cumulative case you're a racist. We can't criticize black people. Do you know that Rush Limbaugh, the late great talk show host, I hope he was saved when he died, used to have as his producer and call screener James Golden, otherwise known as Bo Snerdley. And Bo Snerdley is a black guy. And they would do a skit where James Golden would deliver a short political commentary criticizing Barack Obama, and he would say he's the official EIB black criticizer of the president. Okay, is that
Yeah.
racist?
No, yeah,
Do,
I don't think
do,
that's
do you know
racist.
why? Do you know why Rush Limbaugh and James Golden did that? It's because of the tactic of so many leftists and liberals out there that if you criticize somebody who's black, well, then you must be motivated, by some racist tendencies. This is their attitude. It's disgusting.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see like the differences between generations. So like the modern generation, we have social justice, and like Ben Shapiro says that justice needs no modifier. If you add to justice or you take away
Yeah.
from justice, you get injustice.
Right, of
And
course. Yeah, that's propaganda when they do social justice. They do environmental justice. Okay.
yeah,
Now, so, I dismantled each one of his accusations there, right? Notice when he said, well, you said to several young black men, what's it like to grow up without a father? As I recall, I insult a wide variety of people when they have misconduct, right? Now, if somebody is going to be unruly with me, okay, I don't know what their skin color is unless I can see from a picture. And even if I did see their picture and I said, what's it like to grow up with a father? I'm insulting the fact that they may have had a poor upbringing resulting in their poor social conduct. That doesn't make me racist. When I said, did you see the videos? Did you see their skin color? How do you know they were black? And there was dead silence. Then he said he saw the video with psychoatheists. I said, did you see the video? Because you see, when I made that remark to psychoatheist, who happens to be a black guy, it was in a private text chat. And the statement was made to him because he was so over the top abusive. Okay? It had nothing whatsoever to do that he was black. I could care less whether psychoatheists were black, orange, yellow, an Inuit Eskimo. Okay?
yeah, yeah. You're
So
you're pretty
yeah. So we saw that his little list there, he didn't even watch these videos. And the videos that he said, I said, what? How did you know they were black? Do you recall dead silence when I asked him that question?
yeah.
Yeah. He's a piece of garbage, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah,
And
kind of
it's hard. It's hard to, be calm, you know, when somebody who puts himself forward, as Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collected, Mr. Dignified, Mr. Cordiality, engages in just such cavalier lying and misrepresenting of the facts. And all he's got is cumulative case, cumulative case, cumulative case. Okay, good. Let's go through these one by one. Let's see if any one of them are substantive that you can add them to another. And what we saw is when we went through them one by one, it wasn't substantive. Okay?
yep.
And after I systematically went through each one and showed how this wasn't a substantive charge, he says, well, it's still cumulative. This is about as idiotic as the evidentiary support that they have that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't kill the president. And they said, well, it's a cumulative case. But when you go through the individual discrete states of affairs, you find out that none of them support in part, let alone whole, a case that there was a conspiracy to kill the president or Kennedy. It's the same type of convoluted thinking. We go, it's a cumulative case. James is tired is really inept. And I think that he did this simply to save face that he stood by his slander and defamation.
making jokes like this, you're not going to rebuke your fellow Christians? Like,
Well,
He tells
James
people
could have
what not
asked.
to say all the time.
James
Go ahead.
could have asked. So when you heard Tim say no sunscreen, did you suddenly realize what was going on? Like, what did you not realize before what the implication was?
Right. Did you get
And
it?
did you think that was racist? You could have asked that.
Mhm.
You didn't.
right. Cherry picking rebukes on Darth's side.
But it
Well,
is
I mean,
really
you can
funny to
tell
see,
from that
like,
whole.
oh, go
Well,
ahead.
you can tell from that whole thing that it's not gonna. I mean, he wouldn't have even let that. He wouldn't even let a question like that get out because, like, anytime James tried to clarify or explain how this could be interpreted as racism, he was just like, "You're not answering my direct questions." It was just a bunch of like, it's just classic EF. He couldn't have even got a question out like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Darth for sure had a bucket load of chocolate sauce in his britches the whole time.
It's very entertaining to see just like how how overclocked the CPU has to run on like in these people's minds when they're using every tool they have imaginable to just like make up nonsense as like a sort of defense. Like you see this with John Lee and he'll just be like, well, how do you know anything? Pessimistic meta induction, mereological nihilism, right? Just every everything so that there's like plausible deniability or whatever. It's insane.
So now going forward, if that's gonna happen again, just bring some freaking footage. Bring bring some actual sound bites. Proof.
All I know is that if someone were to say those types of things, like say in a work environment, you would be fucking fired, bro.
Oh yeah, you'd be done.
So tell me that's not. I don't know, man. I don't see how there's even a question, but whatever.
True that.
I was keeping track, and Darth threatened to leave 9 times.
Hmm. How did it end? Did he rage quit, or was it just like over?
James sent him down in the
James
middle of a
kicked him.
fucking
Nice.
hissy fit. It was really funny. That was the one great thing he did. I'll say.
Yeah, man, Darth was freaking out. It's so funny. Do you? Do you? Just yelling.
What was all that horse shit at the end that James went into about medical problems and stuff? It almost seemed like he was trying to excuse away because maybe he realized that he was less effective than he thought he's going to be. Was he trying
Yeah.
to say that? I mean, what was going on there?
Oh, he's just got a lot of distractions going, and he's
Painkillers.
got a lot of shit going on, and I guess he's realizing that he's maybe not prioritizing his time very well because he's not doing this part very well and he's not doing the other part very well. I don't know. This part meaning Clubhouse and the other part meaning his life.
I wish
I think he's
James
just
would have
realizing.
been. I wish James would have been OJ's attorney in the 1993 trial. Got a feeling it probably went differently.
I mean, the problem is just like what we've said, though. Like, he just wasn't. He wasn't woke enough. I hate using that word.
The slander defamation that originated from them because they have nothing to refute biblical presuppositional argument. You know what? Then you leave me no recourse to call you what you are, James is tired, and that is a lying scumbag. He showed no contrition. He showed no response. excuse me, no contrition, no remorse. Okay, when we went through each one of the points, it was like I was talking to a brick wall when I went through the context of each one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember when he said, he goes, did you criticize Martin Luther King, the leader of the civil rights movement? Yeah, I did. Based upon historical research from a variety of sources that other people as well have repeated, and even the deputy director of the FBI, who went on record as saying, "Yeah, it's all true." Ralph Abernathy, who was one of Martin Luther King's allies, close friends, talked about his flagrant adultery in his own book.
Mm.
I mean, just think
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
Did you
that's
criticize
pretty
Martin
new to
Luther
me.
King?
Like,
You criticize Martin Luther? Yeah. Guess what? It's going to be 2023 in January. In 2027, or I should say that the records are sealed either up to or through 2027. I don't recall which it is. But in the 1970s, a federal judge sealed those records. Okay? I mean, there are filing cabinets after filing cabinets and filing cabinets of the surveillance of Martin Luther King, of his behind the scenes activities that were inconsistent and incompatible with his public presentation of himself as a clergyman, as a minister of the gospel. The guy says, and you know what? Let me ask you this. Did it sound like to you that James is tired had any inkling about these credible reports about Martin Luther King's behind the scenes activities? That he had he even heard of them?
yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I guess Lee, did you want to say anything?
People
Comment?
people who research King's life are all too well acquainted. These aren't just rumors, okay?
Yeah. I guess one thing I was wondering if like the FBI could have framed MLK, but I really haven't done enough research into it.
No. There are filing cabinets and filing cabinets and filing cabinets of surveillance material, which include audio, video, wiretapping, and also eyewitness reports within these files. There's filing cabinet after filing cabinet after filing cabinet. Do you know who J. Edgar Hoover was?
Uh,
They
not
considered Martin Luther King subversive. Whether he was subversive or not is besides the
yeah.
point. J. Edgar Hoover had him under the most meticulous, behind the scenes, under surveillance that the FBI could do at that time. Okay? Now, you don't hear this talked about in the media, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But there are a variety of credible sources that you can go to that cross reference this. This isn't something that I'm making up or that I read on some half baked HTML page on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's that's very new to me. But I'm glad that I'm learning about it. Even though it's sad news. It is sad too.
There are other allegations that have some credibility, okay, that I didn't even bring up about
Yeah.
MLK. You know what I could have said to him? I could have said, MLK was a reprobate based upon a cumulative case. What would he have said then? Well, it's a cumulative case.
So I had another thought. So
This could have all been avoided. Okay, this ugly scene could have been avoided by him saying, "Okay, I'll talk with you privately." He could have made his points my points, and he could have said, "Well, I agree to disagree, but I won't comment on this any further." But he chose not to do that. He was the one who chose to make this a public spectacle. And then, and I know I'm being redundant here, then he blames me for making a public spectacle. What a lying SOB. Okay? What a liar.
yeah, he's not like operating logically. Uh,
No.
that was completely that was
It's
definitely
called
evident.
it's
When
called trying to save face.
yeah.
Come up, Michael. Michael, you have your hand raised. I sent you an invite. Come on up. Yes, Michael doesn't want to come up.
But
You
yeah,
know,
I had a
my
comment.
yeah. I get angry and indignant. Not when people. It's not so much that people criticize me. It's when they lie. When they play fast and loose with the facts, with reckless abandonment. That's what angers me.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. And I didn't like the whole guilt by association. Like, oh, someone else said something bad, and you happen to be in the room, therefore,
Oh,
you must.
because you did not immediately condemn him, therefore we can conclude you have racist tendencies.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, um, that's a sword that like everyone will die on. It's like, oh, you happen to be in
Yeah.
a photograph with like
Look,
Richard
if
Sanchez.
there are rioters, listen. If there are rioters in any news depiction, whether they're all black or all white or a mixture, I'm going to mock and ridicule and condemn these people. But because maybe a majority of them in certain news angles are black, oh, I should refrain from criticizing these people who
Yeah,
are pillaging and burning down these buildings and rioting?
So I had tried to ask you a question earlier, and apparently Ty was
Yes,
in
yeah.
the other room we were in, and he said something along the lines of one of the examples that James gave, were you criticizing people sagging their pants, and that's some sort of connection to racism.
Yeah, I barely recall that. Okay, I mean,
But that
did
that's
were you
just a
were you
stereotype.
there for the whole thing?
No, I was in my room, the room I
Oh,
started
okay.
about. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to have to go and listen to this. Okay. I gave it to him with both barrels. Okay. This lying piece of garbage. So you'll have to listen to it, and then we can discuss it, and you can tell me what you think, pro and con, good or bad.
yeah.
You know.
I'll definitely listen to it, but if one of the parts is about just criticizing people wearing saggy pants, that's a bigotry of low expectations right there, because that's not indicative of any race at all, because you can have people nowadays of a variety of races sag their pants, not black people.
Okay.
Exclusively,
So
I don't
so I,
understand how you got this idea in your head that, oh, you must be talking about black people for people keeping their pants up or something. Like, what in the world?
yeah. So let the record show that I just made Tonlock a um, a moderator, but actually there can be a case made that I'm actually a racist for doing so, because I'm simply making him a token black out of the room with four other white people. Theo, I'm assuming you're white, right?
I'm mixed
You know,
race.
okay, so well then I'm racist. Then I'm gonna have to send you down here. Okay, but so, and I'm saying this is all tongue in cheek, right? So I'm gonna use James's tired, screwed, uh, skewed mentality here and reasoning. So I made Tonlock a moderator, so I must be racist because I'm making him a token black moderator because I have other people in here that I make moderators that are white, like Ty, and I'm making Ty a moderator. You see, because I'm trying to counterbalance the power of a black participant because we all know that blacks can't handle power. You know,
Wait a
I
minute.
mean,
Wait a minute. Why are you
this is the
assuming my?
level.
Yeah, I'm just the
Well, maybe you're
bootlicking
wrong. I
token
mean,
black
maybe you're
guy.
as black as the ace of spades, like Elizabeth Warren is an American Indian tie.
Yeah, I'm just the bootlicking token black guy right here. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. A bootlicking lackey. Little do they know how many conversations we have had where you and I have disagreed. You have told me where you think I'm wrong and incorrect. But you're just a bootlicking lackey.
Yeah, because I don't air these issues out in public like unfortunately people
I
like
know,
James
I
like to
know.
do. If I have my grievances, I come to that person personally. I think it's just
Right.
basic common sense. I don't fall into these traps and lies and deceptions of
Okay.
atheists. Like all he had to do from the beginning is just use some common sense and come to you privately.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's all he
No,
had to do.
well, he's a liar. The title of the room was that I wanted to make it public. That was a lie. Okay? When I made the situation clear to him by quoting our text messages back and forth, which showed that it was a lie, he wasn't even um, showing any remorse and saying, "Well, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that
So he
title up there."
wasn't addressing those points specifically when you read the messages. Was he
He
talking
tried.
past her?
He tried to ignore it multiple times. I said, "No, we're not going to get to your talking points until you acknowledge that the title of your room is a lie."
Yeah.
And I read the text messages between us, and I said to him, "You have publicly slandered and defamed me as a racist. That I am undoubtedly a racist, right?" And I said, "We can do this publicly or privately." And he knows that I would prefer to do it privately, right? He said that he did not want to do it publicly. So I said, okay, good. Let's do this privately, right? I had even spoken to him previously. Let's do this privately. So he's a liar when he puts that title up that I insisted on doing it publicly. You know what his excuse was for putting that deceptive title in there? Is because after the text messages, he showed up twice, maybe a third time, where I said, "Hey, are we going to talk about this? When do you want to talk about this?" None of those times did I insist that it be public, and he knew that I sent him a private message. Okay, we'll do it privately. He tried to impugn me of therefore when he showed up and he wasn't responding to other contacts that I've made to him that he ignored, right? Like sending him hand waves and he completely ignored in the last couple of days. And he tries to say that I insisted and wanted to make it public when the exact opposite is true. And the text messages are evidence to show it. And he continued to stand on the title as a lie. This is what a pig this guy is.
So, Darth, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
I'm on the stage now. Yeah. What's the title of this room you're talking about? I'd like to listen to it if possible. Is it retrievable?
It's Jane. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what the title is. Let me see if it's still live.
Is it on YouTube or
Oh, I'm
Clubhouse?
sure. Oh, it's definitely going to be on YouTube.
It's not there yet.
Not yet. I don't see it in the feed, but it could still be ongoing because if somebody on stage has me blocked, it won't show up in my feed. But it will definitely be on YouTube probably within 24 to 48 hours.
What's the title of it?
Oh, I can't remember. Was it Darth Dawkins wanted to make this a public argument or something like that? I can't remember. If anybody in the audience can remember what the stupid title was. Anyway, the title was a lie saying that I wanted to do this publicly, which was an outright
It
lie.
says Darth Dawkins keeps winning at public. Is Darth
There you go.
racist?
Yeah, that's a lie. Yeah.
And Darth Dawkins wants it public. What?
And
Is
Darth
Darth
Dawkins
racist?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Yeah. This is a guy who kisses the ass of slimy, greasy, deceptive, evasive, let me go on, atheists all the time, and then as a professing Christian, he slimes, slanders, and defames me by repeating their defamation, and then he attempts to make a cumulative case, which there is none.
And how do I have a private conversation with you, Darth? What do I need
How
to
do
do
you?
for that? One of these in the next couple of days. No big deal. No hurry. But how does that work?
Send me.
I'm kind of new at this stuff, though.
All right, I'm following you. Follow me back.
Follow you back.
You know how to do that?
I think I push choose your name, choose your icon there, and then put follow.
Yeah, do follow, and that way you can send me a message, or you can
I'm
send me a
following you
hand.
already. It says.
Okay, well then, when you want to talk privately, you click on that and click wave, and then if I'm available and I respond, then we can talk in a private room.
Wave. Okay, that sounds great. All right, all right. I look forward to watching that YouTube thing. Thanks a lot, sir. See you later.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
I mean, did James just refuse to do it privately, or what happened?
He didn't outright refuse to do it, but I'm going to say this tongue in cheek. There was a cumulative case that he refused to do it privately.
I see.
Yeah, I'm saying that tongue in cheek because that's the bullshit that he was shoveling toward me the whole time. It's a cumulative case. He goes, there isn't any one individual thing that indicates you're racist. It's just a cumulative case. He kept a cumulative case. I said, that's bullshit.
Hey, Darth, how do I get off the stage?
You select your avatar and select move to audience. I'll do it for you. Oh my goodness, Darth Dawkins is an animal hater. He just kicked a creature that had an animal avatar off the stage. Oh, somebody called the ASPCA.
You know, it's amazing to me, Darth, that this
Yes,
guy
sir.
James is so concerned about whether or not you have some sort of animus or hatred to people with a different tone of skin than you, and yet here
Which
he
is
is
false.
being friends and snuggling up to people who hate God.
Yeah, I
Now
know.
tell me how you can make sense out of that.
Yeah. Look, like for example, he wants to accuse me of racist because I have absolute disgust for rap music, and that somehow indicts blacks. Okay. Now, Tonlock, have you and I discussed rap music in the past?
I mean, a little bit, and I've voiced my disagreements, but
right. No,
you ever
I'm not trying to put you on the spot here. I just want to point out to the audience that you and I have had a couple of brief conversations about rap music, and I expressed my opinion, and you had a different opinion.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when I expressed my opinion that I considered it on the garbage side, both musically and culturally, okay, you disagree with me. Now, did I lambaste you because you disagree with me?
No,
No, I didn't. No, I
never have.
didn't. No. Look, I might like something that you think is garbage or deficient culturally. Okay, so what? There are certain aspects of white culture, there are certain aspects of black culture, there are certain aspects of Hispanic culture that I consider culturally deficient. Not that I'm a cultural slob, because I'm not one. That I think lacks in either talent, culture. Um, that doesn't make me a racist.
I mean, here's the thing. I just say there are many things about certain rap songs out there that I think are horrible, but it's not an indication of rap music in general. But if it's an issue that you just don't prefer that genre, then that's a different story. Rather than saying,
Exactly.
well, it's indicative of the skin color. There's certain. I mean, I don't really dislike any particular genre, but I like certain genres more than
Look,
others.
look. I happen to, growing up in the '60s and the '70s, there's an enormous amount of black performers who had absolutely amazing talent, both musically and vocally, that I like listening to. Okay? Am I somehow some like plantation owner that's just patting him on the head and saying that's a good performance? You know, if I'm racist, there happens to be certain people in the entertainment industry, especially the acting community, they're black, and I really like them, and I like their performances.
And
Okay.
once again, you'd have
Hey,
to have a stereotypical angle or a bigotry of low expectations if you try to
Mm-hmm.
associate rap music with something necessarily deplorable and necessarily associated with blacks because it's not just black people that rap.
That's what I've said.
let me ask you a question, Darth.
Yes, sir.
Are you a fan of death metal?
I hate it.
You're a racist.
I what little I have listened to it, what I am familiar with, I find it gross. You
Yeah,
know.
I've heard you criticize, music and certain sorts of syncopation and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard you criticize that for years, like rock and roll and how it's syncopated and how it's meant to elicit certain responses and stimuli from people. I've heard you going on for years talking about that at length. Oh, yep, must hate white people too because typically rock music is associated more often than not with people who are white. You must hate them too, right? You just hate everyone.
Yeah, and so again, we're wasting all this time dealing with the mudslingers, the slanderers, the defamers, rather than the real issue about the gospel of Jesus Christ, the indispensability of the Christian worldview, that we're under the wrath of God and we need Christ to be our Savior for each one of us. And I have to sit there and deal not only with the atheists who are following, their father, Satan, who is a slanderer of the brethren. They're engaging in slander and defamation, just like Saul Alinsky did in his book Rules for Radicals, said to do to your political opponents. And by the way, the book was dedicated to Lucifer. And now we have so-called mild-mannered, thoughtful, cordial Christian apologists like James is tired joining on the bandwagon with these creepy, slimy atheists. Okay, and I have to deal with this. I understand it's
I got rid of him.
okay. What was his screen name? Was that Melu?
Yeah, Malyuu.
Okay, good. I'm gonna.
Malu Farah.
All right, he's blocked. Okay,
What an
Darth.
intellectual rebuttal that was.
yeah.
Can't bring anything to the table except pig squealing or whatever that was.
I don't have
Darth,
anything.
if I may.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
All right. First, I just want to say that I hate that this is going on. I really enjoy listening
I'm
to
not
you.
happy about it either.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know,
But you know
and
what? The scummy atheists
they
are.
love it.
How shall I put this without being crude or offensive?
Hmm.
I'll try to be euphemistic. What they are fomenting is a form of, euphemistically, a form of self-pleasuring of themselves.
Okay.
That they're promoting this type of conflict and turmoil,
Right.
right? Right? And we have professing Christians that are collaborating with this.
Right. Right. There, there was one thing that was brought up, and again, I don't think that you're a racist, and I don't think anyone that loves Jesus Christ and understands the word at all could be a racist and think that they're eternally secure, if you would. But but okay, okay, the joke that he was mentioning about the looters left the
Mm-hmm.
Father's Day cards, the work boots, and suntan lotion, and he said that you
Okay. Did
added
you
to and
listen to the did you listen to the video?
be honest with you, I just came to the table, and I think I heard
Okay.
someone said you put it in context. I was going to ask if you could just do that
Okay.
for this
Yeah.
forum.
What we had, if my recollection is correct, and I'm willing to be corrected if I'm mistaken, was after the George Floyd incident, if I'm correct. Because there's so many issues that I talk about on a regular basis. I can't remember all of it. That there was rioting going on where stores were being ransacked and pillaged and set on fire. And in one particular video, we saw a horde of people going in and just stealing stuff from stores within their local communities. And we were criticizing and mocking it. In this particular video, in one of the shots, a disproportionate, or most, if not all, of the participants happened to be black. I've seen other videos where there were white rioters and pillagers too, but the particular video in question that we're talking about, in the shot, they were black, and we were just simply mocking these people, not because of their ethnic background, at least from my point of view, and initially, or their skin color, but because they were being antisocial. They were acting in an anarchistic fashion, right? And we made comments about they're stealing stuff, but they didn't take the work boots. That's the comment I make. There was another participant who, along with the humor, was trying to be humorous and made what would be considered to be um, kind of racial, where he said they didn't take the suntan lotion. Now, as soon as he said it, I'm like, oh gosh, why did he say that? I was not happy that he said it, but I didn't immediately say anything. So what they tried to do is, and there were several people talking, myself and two or three other people. What they attempted to do was take this occurrence and characterize it in such a way in order to impugn me as being racist. Okay. And when I was talking with James is Tired, I don't recall that he said he even watched the video, but let's say for the sake of discussion that he did. He brought up the issue about somebody talking about Father's Day's cards, and somebody else said about um, that the suntan lotion, or no, sunscreen, excuse me, the sunscreen wasn't taken. I was impugned for racism because I didn't immediately and publicly condemn that statement. Okay? People make a lot of inappropriate statements all the time that I don't react to. Okay? I'm not the thought or the word police for people who are in the room. Okay? So I was impugned in that particular situation because of something somebody else said. Okay?
And thank you very much for adding context to it. I know it's unfair. It's unfair for someone to
Oh, that's
level
an
such.
understatement. It's
Yeah,
beyond unfair.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah,
And and it,
it's
and it's
disgusting.
not doing the body of Christ any
Right.
good whatsoever. Can I ask a side question? And I apologize for asking, but um, all right, the profanity. I'm sorry. I may be just an
Hmm.
immature Christian.
No,
All right.
don't apologize.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. All right. All right. So, all right. Always, to me, it's weird, for lack of a better term, when I hear Christians use profanity, as I've
Hmm.
heard you do. Is there a reason why you use those words? I mean, is it that is not an
Yeah.
unbiblical? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. 2 words. Bad habit.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Fair. Hey, look,
Now,
listen, I love you
Tonlock has
guys,
been
man. I'm gonna go ahead and
Tonlock has known me for years. Okay. On online. Okay. Tonlock, have I not repeatedly apologized and criticized myself for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, listen, I love you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and step down, and I
But
appreciate the
And you know what?
that's just that lackey talk. So yeah.
Yeah. And you know what, Calvin? That's perfectly appropriate for you to raise that question. I don't take any personal offense at that. And if somebody criticizes me for that, I think they can be justified that when I use some coarse language that I shouldn't use. Okay?
Darth, did you see what I sent you in back channel? DD,
Yeah, but let me just see. Let me just see if you sent me something new here.
I did.
Let me
It
just
was
look
while you were in that
here.
room. The
Yeah,
DD
he. Okay,
DD debunked
okay. Let me just. I
back.
read it quickly. Let me just read it again to refresh my memory. I did read through it again. Okay, just hold on. Give me a minute and read this again.
It's funny enough where you could read it out loud, like I read his bio out loud.
The phrase "I have something coming down the pipeline" is that you directly making that statement, or that
All that
nincompoop?
the last the last thing that I text you was everything was a copy and paste of what he sent me. Okay,
Okay,
that
well, it
entire
says okay. When it starts, bro. Okay,
yeah. Now
bro.
that's me. Okay,
Okay.
so it says
He said,
bro
okay,
DD.
okay. He sent me this. Okay. All right. So after he sent me this, that's that nincompoop.
This is where he started. By the way, I did hear.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Okay.
and then he ends from everything down from there is what he sent me. He said, by the way, I did hear that there were a few people getting a lot of chuckles over my website and quiz. Yeah, yeah, we did. I was in tears. I won't deny that. If you want to see something that's going to be
Okay.
really funny, stay tuned because I have something coming down the pipeline that's really going to put a laugh on some faces.
Yeah. Yeah. Promises, promises. Just like all the rest of the content that he, puts up. Yeah. Yeah. Don't waste your time dealing with him. He's not playing with a full deck. Okay. So when you get a chance, you watch that interaction with James. And I think I was justifiably, irate with him, for his BS, his lies, his misrepresentation, his incompetence. Right? And you'll notice throughout the interaction, he's constantly evasive. Okay, constantly. It's disgusting.
Well, from what I listened to, you were trying to get him to pull out the particulars and specifics, and he just kept being very vague.
Mm.
He wasn't.
Yeah, it, in my biased opinion, he was a train wreck. Okay, but then again, I'm biased. You know.
But the bottom line is, it's generally the people accusing you of racism that actually, more often than not, have the not necessarily them being racist, but they have these these low expectations or these stereotypical thoughts and issues in their mind that they have to predicate racism on, and they're the ones who make themselves look the worst because you don't
You know,
associate you don't associate taking stuff out of stores, but not taking the work boots with black people because it's commonly stated in these days that a lot of leftists don't like to work.
you remember Psycho Atheist?
Yeah, I remember him
Okay,
talking about scholars and stuff.
Scala.
Yeah, I remember him.
This guy has been borderline lunatic, if not lunatic, on a number of occasions dealing, excuse me, with me. Okay, and I made a remark one time about him going lunatic, and I said he's going ghetto on me, right? And they accused me of being a racist for saying that. Okay, in a back channel in a message. No, I don't know if it was in text or it was in audio, but maybe it was in text. Because of his broken way of speaking and his hysteria, I said to him, is English your first language? Do you know how many people I say that to? Okay,
Yeah, a lot.
and because I said it to him, they said, "Oh, well, that's racist." I mean, this is how crazy these people are. The atheists are mentally self-pleasuring themselves because of this turmoil, okay, of what they have inculcated, of they have the some of these reprobate atheists have gotten other professing Christians to engage in slander and defamation of myself and possibly others, and some of these atheists are